Well, welcome everybody. Here with us today, we have Falconer, a VP of Strategy for Sportradar, one of our strategic partners in the sports world. My name is Juan, and I lead global accounts and international markets on behalf of Decentric. So, Mike, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Thanks, Juan. Good to be here. As you say, I'm VP of Strategy at Sportradar, and Sportradar are we're 23 years now, pretty much the kind of epicenter of the sports industry, and we're a broad church. So our provenance is in sports betting. We pretty much fuel and facilitate most of the global betting markets. But over the years, we have expanded and broadened what we do. And two key verticals that I focus on are fan engagement and marketing services. So it is looking at a whole range of different capabilities, both those that we have and those that we want to develop or to acquire, and working out how we can help our very expansive customer network to engage more effectively with sports fans, be that how they market to them, be that how they provide content to them, be that how they let them interact with their sport, or ultimately how they monetize them as sports fans. And we are interested and active in all of those different considerations.
So there seems to be a tectonic shift around the relationship between a brand and a fan. I mean, that's kind of, we're at the cusp of this intersect between the brand, the platforms that are serving that content, the teams that are, with the fans are obviously engaging with. So you guys announced the concept around Fan ID. So can you give us a little bit more of an insight in terms of how is Fan ID going to really impact the overall fan experience in the future?
For sure, Juan. Yes, it is, you say, is a major initiative for Sportradar. It's been 18 months certainly in the making, and is the combination of a range of different skills within the business, data capture and manipulation, to engineering, to marketing services, to media planning. And it is a pretty unique combination of a wide skill set to bring the platform to market. And the reason we've done so and made the necessary investment, which is significant so far, is that there is we identified a couple of years ago that there is a major opportunity, certainly for our rights holder customers, to exert a much greater level of control over the sports that they govern and the sports fans within it. If you imagine now that because of interest to major brands, because it's high intent, high passion, it's live, and it is a community experience, it's of course an area where brands are going to invest a great deal of money. But as it stands at the moment, that investment is made on a pretty chaotic basis. So sports struggle to control the engagement that their partner brands have with their own fans. And that, in some respects, isn't necessarily a good thing, because sports want to control that fan experience and, of course, optimize it as far as fans are concerned. So given the changes in privacy and the demise, let's say, of the third-party cookie and the importance of first-party data strategies, certainly because of the data assets that rights holders had invested in and built, this provided them with a major opportunity really to start to build a more orchestrated, more controlled ecosystem, if you like, almost a walled garden around their own sports, driven by first-party engagement. And of course, to do that, they needed a technology. So we took the decision 18 months ago to build a platform that would enable it. And of course, Juan, as you know, you have become, over the course of the last 18 months, a key partner within that whole enterprise.
It sounds like orchestration control speaks silos, data silos in particular. How is Fan ID addressing this issue towards the overarching goal around data collaboration?
Yeah, so the foundation stone for Fan ID as a platform is the way it enables different participants to collaborate and share around first-party data. Now, this is something that, of course, major brands in other areas of commercial life are already engaged in retail media networks and such like. So providing a similar mechanism whereby first-party data sets can be commingled, can be suppressed, where complements can be identified, so that so that segments of fans can be defined and engaged very precisely on behalf of any participant, if you like, in the rights holder ecosystem is important. And we think Fan ID certainly provides those brands with a major opportunity to do so in ways that they simply haven't been able to in the past.
And have you guys been able to isolate like specific, like clear opportunities where the fan can actually more actively engage with the leagues and the brands in a two-way relationship? So can you give us a specific example?
Well, yes, I think, that there are a few different forces that are in progress here. If you look at the US major leagues for a long period of time, they have been investing heavily in understanding their own fan base. They recognize the value of it. They recognize the importance of understanding those fans in terms of their preferences, their inclinations, and they have built, deep and detailed understandings now of what fans want and choose to do. And that is really the basis on which they can start to engage with them in very specific ways, and also to monetize them in very specific ways, because of course that insight into their preferences can be turned into tangible commercial value. Now, as soon as that understanding is there, of course, then technologies can allow you to provide choice and options as far as they're concerned. So within the broadcast environment now, of course, there are lots of examples of ways and means where consumers and fans can have choice around the players they want to watch, the angles they want to watch from, and equally insofar as how leagues now, rights holders, choose to market to those fans around merchandise, around ticketing, and other commercial enterprises. They can do so on a much more precise basis as well.
So is this precision and data tracking? I mean, I'm curious to hear like how that is really going to open up, because we speak about like this Sportradar being like the bridge, and together with Decentric being like the technical bridge to enable this. What's the advantage of the league or the teams themselves for monetization? Is it just really geared around control? Because it's not like they don't have relationship with brands. They already have them. They've had them for decades. But is it more to capture more of their a bigger slice of their own pie? Is that the monetization opportunity for this teams?
I wouldn't necessarily express it in those terms, but you're right. What it offers is an opportunity to share, for rights holders to share more widely, let's say, in the monetization opportunities against their fans. And if we look at specific examples, of course, already rights holders receive very significant sums from brands for them to simply associate with their sport. And of course, a set of rights comes with that. And, conventionally, that would include the opportunity for these brands to engage fans on the owned and operated platforms of the rights holder, for example. Now, what these provisions don't do and haven't done historically is really to provide the rights holder with any influence or control around the very significant sums that brands are spending outside those rights agreements. So major brands will, of course, exploit the rights that they have bought in lots of different ways, and probably spend more exploiting them than the rights fees themselves. But if you imagine a mature rights holder with 30 to 40 brands who might be their official partners, all of those brands are engaging in silos, in isolation. There is no mechanism whereby that investment can be controlled, orchestrated, given order and reason and purpose, and all of the things that, to be honest, should happen so that the fan experience is optimized. But when you've got a number of different brands all trying to engage the same fan at the same time in those kind of high interest moments, then of course that can lead to suboptimal fan experience. So what Fan ID seeks to do is to provide a framework whereby the aggregate spend against investment against sports fans can be controlled for the benefit certainly of the rights holder, because it gives them influence and it gives them ways of managing that investment that they haven't had previously. It's good for the brand, but of course, because they can isolate key moments that they know they can own and can build campaigns around. It's also good for the fan because their experience is curated, and notions of oversaturation or inappropriate engagement at moments when perhaps they don't want it, I think can be controlled much more effectively.
Let's talk about the future. It seems like we're still at the very early beginnings of Fan ID. The potential is really big. What do you see this 12, 24 months from now? How do you see this evolving in terms of strengthening the bridge between the right holders, I mean, the leagues and the teams and the fans, and Sportradar being that bridge in the middle?
Well, I think the direction of travel is only one way, for sure, as you will know, Juan, and in your work in sectors outside the sport where we focus, the first party future is established. Whatever Google choose to do, that ship has sailed really, and I think the world is a digital world. It's an ecosystem is going to operate on a different basis. So that will continue, no doubt. Specifically in sport, I mean, what we are seeing very clearly is that brands who have, of course, been investing in their first-party strategies for certainly probably a longer 3 to 4 years now, are being much more assertive in terms of their demands for access to first-party audiences. And I think we're seeing that very tangibly. It's much more prevalent across both mature and less mature leagues. And certainly that will continue in the same way that when they operate with, Walmart or other retailers and they're offered first-party access there, then I think they expect the same kind of provision amongst all their chief partners. And I think rights holders are going to be a very significant part of that. So there is no doubt, a responsibility now or an opportunity for rights holders to make sure that access can be provided and done so safely, and done so compliantly, of course, and done so in such a way that they remain the controller of access, certainly, and that they can orchestrate the entire ecosystem that they're creating across their partner set, or be that a sponsor brand, be that a media partner, be that a commerce partner. So we think that will continue and, in fact, accelerate over this year and certainly next.
Sounds exciting. Sounds like there's a lot of sports walled gardens coming up. Let's talk a little bit more about how do you see the expansion of partners within the Fan ID ecosystem? Obviously, we're talking with respect to Decentric. This is we're a technology provider for secure data collaboration. We're talking about the leagues. We obviously and their respective teams, and then the fans, the media owners, media publishers. Where do you see any additional partners that could come into the mix to contribute to Fan ID?
Well, I think what we will probably see is a sort of tiering, if you like, amongst partner sets. I mean, I guess the universe of partners is fairly obvious in that, you have media partners, you have commerce partners, you have brand partners. But I think we have a fairly nascent proposition that we're building within Fan ID called Bedrock Partners. And in and around Bedrock Partners, what, of course, we've realized and rights holders have realized is that some partners have more value than others. So the signals that you might get from a ticketing partner or a merch partner or a betting partner or a media partner are of very high value because they're transactionally based and they are very good signals around what fan preference and intentions are. So, and also these partners tend to recur across sport, so you'll find them as commerce partner of multiple different leagues and federations. So the idea that these key partners, these high value signal partners become the bedrock of the clean room, if you like, we think is a very interesting notion. And that's something that we're exploring very actively. I think the other aspect to it, as we're working with you, Juan, is the media environment itself. And of course, whilst Fan ID operates at the moment and can, in a specific way that can deliver individualized engagement very effectively, there is no doubt that if we can start to bake in key publishers and media partners into the Fan ID platform, that is going to benefit everybody, because I think the more cooperation there can be between rights holder and media partner, for example, for the benefit then of brand partners, I think is a very interesting notion indeed. So as part of development plans for this year, the idea of integrating, if you like, pre-existing media partners that can be included or excluded, if you like, from a specific brand campaign, we think is a very interesting opportunity as well. And I think that's certainly going to be a primary focus for us over the course of 2025.
And then the last question for us today is like, how do you keep an edge against the competition that's coming up? And this is sports in and of itself is a gigantic industry. Marketing and advertising around sports is huge. How do you guys remain competitive in the years to come?
Well, first and foremost, the one of the advantages we've always, I think, enjoyed is that we live and breathe sport. We don't think about anything else, certainly in any kind of working hour. We are a business dedicated to a vertical and a business of very significant scale dedicated to a vertical, which is a pretty rare beast, to be honest. I mean, companies like Amadeus and so on do so in other verticals very, very effectively. But the idea that we're a multi-billion-dollar business whose only concern really is sport and sports fans puts us, I think, in a strong position first of all. Secondly, as you say, we do enjoy a wide network of customers within the industry, from rights holders to media owners to betting companies and to others besides. And so it puts us at the center of the sports ecosystem. And I think that's important too, that we don't have a B2C vested interest. We are here to enable everybody, and we are here for the benefit of everybody in the sports industry. And I think that neutrality, if you like, is important too. I think, though, when we get to the more technical question around, okay, what is so interesting about FunID, it is absolutely founded by the data clean room and some of the capabilities that we've talked about, and of which there are many more that we haven't, as you know. But it is the combination of the clean room with the activation technology that we think really makes it very different and high value. And by that, we mean the demand-side platform. So the fact that we can maintain entire end-to-end control from first-party data input to the final engagement of that specific fan, and then all of the measurement questions and performance questions around that, we think is pretty unique. So the fact that we spent not only 2 years developing our data clean room capabilities and making it specific to sport in the ways that you know, but we've also spent 6 years building a sport-specific demand-side platform. So all of the capabilities within it are designed specifically for a single vertical sport, and there simply isn't another piece of technology around that has been designed in that way. So if you combine both of those two components and then you surround that with the orchestration capabilities that we've touched on a little bit, then I think you've got something very powerful indeed, and something that it would take significant investment for anyone else to match.
All right. So last question. Obviously, Decentric is not the only clean room in the space. We have a lot of competitors, and it continues to be a very hot space into this year as well. What made you guys decide on Decentric? Because we were not the only ones competing for the business, but
we just like you so much, Juan. It was that was sort of took really, but no, I mean that seriously, actually, Juan. The team at Decentric was a big part of the consideration for sure, but there were. As you know, our diligence was extensive. We looked in detail at a number of potential partners because, of course, as you say, the space was still 2 years ago relatively nascent. What we began to realize very quickly was that it wasn't just about clean rooms per se, that not all clean rooms are the same. And I think that realization early on was crucial, because what we recognized in Decentric specifically was something that was really built in part for our specific needs, which was, of course, obviously the underlying convolutional computing, the sheer quality intellectually of the platform was crucial, because we simply can't take any risks. So that privacy safety was probably the primary question. But beyond that, of course, the multi-tenancy, absolutely crucial, the flexibility of the platform, and in some respects, the simplicity, when we're growing to rights holders, and they might have 40 sponsor brands that want to get involved, a number of media partners, and a whole range of others too. And teams, will connect to the platform as well. It was absolutely essential that the platform had a basic simplicity that made onboarding and the whole process as efficient as it could be, and that was a big part of it. Sure. What we also like about Eccentric is the fact that you're a young, energetic business, and we really wanted a partner who we could work collaboratively with in such a way that, as we develop the platform ourselves, that we could align very closely with you in terms of the investments that you were making on the clean room itself. So I think when we added all of those things up, the fact that you've got great credentials working with highly regulated industries as well in pharma and financial services, I think our minds were made up that you were absolutely the right partner from the start, and we still believe that very strongly. One.
Good to hear. Well, I think that's all for today. Thank you very much, Mike, for your time.